introduce themselves in order so that we can find out if you have any kind of relationship with them, a friendship, acquaintance, or a professional relationship. First for the state.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Steve Slisher and represent the state of Minnesota.
Hello, my name is Christina Marinakis and I'm assisting with the prosecution. Good morning. Erin Eldridge for the state of Minnesota.
And Mr. Nelson, if you'd introduce your client.
Good morning. My name is Eric Nelson. Along with co-counsel Amy Ross, we represent the defendant.
Do either of our jurors know anybody in the room? If so, raise your hand. Okay. Anyone in the room know anybody who works for the Minnesota Attorney General's office? Because there might be other attorneys who might be appearing in the trial itself, including Assistant Attorney General Matthew Frank, Attorney General Keith Ellison, Mr. Jerry Blackwell, or anybody else in the Attorney General's office that anyone recognizes. Okay. Now, you've been given a copy, excuse me, you have been given a copy of a list of potential witnesses. Please review it before you are questioned individually if you have not done so already. You'll be asked if you know anybody on that list. Now, one of the things the attorneys may not do in jury selection is to instruct you on the law. But I do want you to be aware of some of the basic concepts that apply in every criminal case so that you may keep them in mind as you answer the court's and the attorney's questions. So I will instruct you as follows. First, the charges against the defendant are not evidence and they create no inference of guilt. No member of the jury should in any way permit himself or herself to be prejudiced against the defendant because a charge has been made against him or because he has been placed on trial. The defendant is presumed innocent of the charges made against him, and in order for you to find the defendant guilty, the state must prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. The defendant does not have to prove his innocence. The presumption of innocence remains with the defendant throughout the trial unless and until he has been proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt according to the law and the evidence admitted at trial. Proof beyond a reasonable doubt is such proof as ordinarily prudent men and women would act upon in their most important affairs. A reasonable doubt is a doubt based upon reason and common sense. It does not mean a fanciful or capricious doubt, nor does it mean beyond all possibility of doubt. If you serve on this jury, you and your fellow jurors will be the sole judges of whether a witness is to be believed and of the weight to be given a witness's testimony. There are no hard and fast rules to guide you in this respect, but in determining believability and weight of testimony, jurors may take into consideration the witness's interest or lack of interest in the outcome of the case, their relationship to the parties, their ability and opportunity to know, remember, and relate the facts, their manner, their age and experience, their frankness and sincerity or the lack thereof, the reasonableness or the unreasonableness of their testimony in light of all the other evidence in the case, and any other factors that bear on believability and weight. If on this jury you should, in the last analysis, rely upon your own experience, good judgment, and common sense. Now, there are certain things you should not do during jury selection. You are not investigators. You are not to go out to do any looking, and you are not to speak to anyone about this matter. You are not to use the internet to look for information about this case or about the law. Above all, you must not talk to anyone who is involved, the lawyers or the witnesses. Do not be offended if the attorneys, parties, witnesses, or spectators do not speak to you. They know it would be improper to contact you during the trial, and so they will, except for the normal jury selection process, and they will confine themselves to a brief greeting. Now, during the selection process, your family and friends will be curious as to what you are doing. You may tell them that you are on a panel of potential jurors in a criminal case, and that is all you should tell them. Since that is all you should tell family and friends, that is all you should tell the general public. So, please, during these proceedings, refrain from using Facebook, Twitter, or other social media to announce that you are a potential juror or to comment on this trial. You may access such social media tools, except for the news feeds that you might have, but please do not publish any information about the case or your thoughts about the case. You do not have to stay away from people and refuse to speak to them. Do whatever you wish, but do not talk about the case and do not talk at all to anyone involved in it. Because of the nature of the charges, this case is receiving media coverage. Do not read about this case in the newspapers or online. Do not listen to news about it on radio or television, for that matter, in any media. This trial, including jury selection, is being televised, but no video of you or any other juror will be taken at any time, now or during trial if you are selected. Also, your name will not be used in the courtroom. You will only be referred to by your random number to protect your privacy. The audio of anything you say will be broadcast unless we need to discuss something that is deeply personal, extremely sensitive, or embarrassing, or likely to specifically identify you. In those cases, I will specifically order that the audio not be broadcast. In that case, you will still have to answer questions on the record, but without audio or video broadcast outside this courtroom. Now, juror number 99, if you could remain, and we'll start with individual questioning with you. Juror number 103, if you could follow the deputy back to the other courtroom. Okay, juror number 99, if you could come on up to the seat here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Before we start, a couple things. I'm going to swear you in so that all your answers are under oath. If you could raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that you will truthfully answer all questions about your qualifications to serve as a juror?
Yes.
All right. Will you have plexiglass in front of you? We have plexiglass between us. I'll continue to wear a mask. Attorneys also have plexiglass in front of them. We have a lot of precautions which will permit you, if you wish, to take off your mask. Whether you wear it or not is totally up to you. But in either case, mask on or mask off, if you could make sure you're close enough to the microphone so that we can hear you clearly. First of all, thank you for filling out that questionnaire. It was very helpful to get us good information to start with. Was everything true on the questionnaire?
Yes.
Any changes or additions to the questionnaire?
No.
All right. When the lawyers are asking you questions, they might focus on specific questions. And since it was a few months ago, they'll probably read you the question and your answer. Not to be confrontational, but just to refresh your memory about what you said. Because it's been a few months, we find that people want to add things that they forgot to put in there, or correct things that were inaccurate, or even maybe an opinion has changed or evolved. And so the bottom line being, we'd like you to feel comfortable giving an answer that's different from the questionnaire. The only requirement, of course, is that it be truthful and honest. But feel free for it to be different from what's in the questionnaire. You weren't supposed to read any articles or watch any media about this case, but we understand it's been a couple months since you filled out the questionnaire. And given the amount of coverage of this case, you inadvertently might have been exposed to some news, either about this case or related cases, pretrial matters, anything that you can recall that you've been exposed to in the meantime, between the questionnaire and today.
Yes, the settlement.
Okay, what do you recall of the settlement?
I just saw, on the news, the $27 million settlement that the Floyd family got.
Okay. And how do you think that would affect your decision here? If at all?
Not at all.
Okay, and let me be a little more specific. Question 10 in part 1 was basically, can you be fair and impartial? And at the time you filled out your questionnaire, your answer is yes. Do you think hearing news of that settlement may have moved the needle, so to speak, moved you a little off being impartial at all?
I would think I'm more partial now.
Okay, and to which direction?
Of the case?
Yeah.
I would think he's not guilty.
Okay, from the settlement? Okay. So if you're in the middle, that might push you the other way?
Mm-hmm.
Towards not guilty?
Correct.
Okay. I do note that you've got in your background, you've worked with the police department at South Lake Minnetonka, or
Correct.
something out in the western suburbs. I can't recall exactly which one. Do you think that relationship, having worked there, and obviously it gave you favorable opinions about the police, do you think that would also kind of maybe move the needle a little bit?
Yeah.
So I'm sure it was an honest answer at the time you filled out the questionnaire. Now as you sit here today, do you think you can be fair and impartial?
I don't think I already have my opinion on it. I think it's,
And is it pretty well entrenched about it?
yeah, I mean, I want to see, the facts and evidence. I think there's a lot out there that we don't know, and the media
Okay.
puts out a lot of information that, so I'm pretty sure I'm partial.
Okay. And it would be hard for you to put aside
Correct,
the
yeah.
opinions you have. All right, I'm going to excuse you from this panel and from jury service actually completely. You don't have to worry about being called back
Okay.
on another case. All right, thank you. Juror 103. All right, can I have a seat up here? Good morning.
Good morning.
You are juror 103, is that correct?
103.
All right. Before I turn the questioning over to the attorneys, a couple of matters. First of all, I'm going to swear you in so that all your answers are under oath. So if you could raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that you will truthfully answer all questions about your qualifications to serve as a juror?
I do.
Okay, thank you. Now, we have plexiglass between us. I have also plexiglass in front of you and in front of the attorneys. I'll continue to wear a mask. The bottom line being, you can remove your mask if you would prefer, either for comfort or to be heard more clearly. That would work just fine.
Okay.
If you feel you want to put it back on at any time, nobody would be insulted by that, so feel free to do that as you feel appropriate. As regards the questionnaire, thank you for filling out the questionnaire. Gave us a lot of good information to start, and we appreciate you taking the time to do that. First of all, was anything true on the questionnaire?
Yeah, it's all true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and the reason we ask is because sometimes when a couple months have passed, some of the information you might, on reflection, realize, that wasn't quite accurate, I should probably add this, or something may be inaccurate, I need to change that.
Yeah, so something has occurred, and it may be an answer to one of the follow-up questions, but I have my own company,
Correct.
business that I'm building, and we did get commitment for investment, so now I'm accountable to do the work.
Okay.
So that sort of ties me up relative to when I had filled out that form.
Okay, is that the government grant you were talking about?
Yeah.
Okay,
So it's not government grant, it's private investment.
okay. Tell me about the commitment. Is it time sensitive, and is it full-time? What's the essential commitment there?
Yeah, it's at least half-time to full-time, and the clock starts, there's interest rates involved, and so we have to kind of accomplish what we have planned.
Okay, is there a deadline to get everything done?
Yeah, there's a plan
Okay.
where there's deliverables at milestones, which
Okay.
have dates associated with them.
And is there a financial penalty if you don't make it?
Yeah, there's there's financial penalty. Yeah.
And you're, without saying what company you work for or the nature of it, is it just you, or do you have a small firm, large firm?
I'm the primary person, so I'm one of the. It won't make much progress if I'm not there.
All right. So there are certain things you cannot delegate on this, is what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think you could realistically sit through for March 29th for 4 weeks and give this case your full attention?
I think it'll be very difficult to do that.
Okay, and tell me a little bit more about that. Like, would you be trying to work full-time after jury duty, or?
Yeah, and coordinating with the rest of the team becomes more difficult. So we expect the case to be for 1 month
Yes,
or more? Or,
possibly more. As you've already seen, we occasionally run into delays or
yeah.
things going longer than we thought.
I think it'll be tight. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me go back to something else that's in your questionnaire. One of the questions is, can you remain fair and impartial? It's part 1, question 10. And your answer was, I can try. And we appreciate people's willingness to try. The question becomes, can you really do that? Do you think you can? Because we hate to put you into the binary situation of yes or no. I can try is an honest answer, but unfortunately we have to press you. And given the type of case we have, do you think you can, or do you think there's a significant enough danger that this is not the case for you to sit on?
I know I had a very strong emotional reaction to observing that video.
Okay.
So I don't know if that is prejudice or not.
Well, and let me follow up a little bit. One of the things, everybody has heard and seen things about this case. And we not only request, but we require that if you're on the jury, you have to put it aside, your feelings, opinions you may have formed, and decide this case objectively just on the facts, the evidence you hear in court, and put aside everything you've heard. Some of it you might actually be, you might actually see in court, but we don't know that because we don't know what all exactly you've seen. Do you realistically believe that you could dispassionately put all that aside and decide the case without being partial one way or the other?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
You stated it was kind of an emotional reaction, which, and I'm not trying to embarrass you. You seem to be getting a little emotional.
No,
even now.
it's okay. Yeah.
And as a juror, we hope that you can remain objective and kind of keep an emotional distance and be objective about it. I think given your area of expertise, you understand the need for expertise or for objectivity. Could you do that? And let me say one more thing. We put you in a tough position because you don't know exactly what all you're going to see. I mean, the questionnaire did ask you about, graphic photographs and video, and if your reaction is such that you cannot put it aside, that's fine. We all come in here with different situations in our life, and so it's not a failure to say if you can't. But it's also not a failure if you say, yeah, no, I can do it. I not only will try, but I can do it. So where do you think? And you can tell me whatever you want on that topic.
I just think this case is so I can't say with confidence that I'll be able to. I think this case just is, there's so many factors that played into it, and it was so close to home, like where we live and all, that I just feel like I don't want to be associated with it. It's just
Is it too much?
yeah, it's yeah, I think it's too much. Yeah, it's yeah. This is my first time in jury duty ever.
Okay.
And, yeah.
No, I absolutely understand. Mr. Nelson or Mr. Slisher, do you have any questions? All right.
Okay.
I'm going to excuse you from this
Thank you.
case. Thank you, though, for coming in and being honest about where we're at. Okay?
No problem.
Would you tell Pam? Okay, we definitely want for all three if we can. All right, I don't think we have an answer from the jury office, but we're going to try and get 3 in for this afternoon if possible.
We've got 110.
Oh, 110?
110 is coming.
Okay. So let's come back at 1:30 if we've got one at 110. Or juror number 110 will be here at 1 o'clock.
And 109.
Okay, we've got both.
So we have 2 right now.
Okay, so we've added one. We have 109 and 110. And we're trying for the next one. I don't know if is that 111 or 112?
111.
111? Okay. We're working on 111. We'll have at least 2 for this afternoon, but they won't be here till 1. So let's reconvene at 1:15.